18th pick in the 2019 draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Garrett Bradbury, center, North Carolina State.
Well done. And Kirk Cousins, we don't have video on him, but he's celebrating along with Garrett Bradbury. This is the best center in the draft and one of the best to come out in the last handful of years.
Back at TCO, giving you the rundown on your newest Minnesota Viking. Hey, it might not be sexy, it might not be flashy, but the Minnesota Vikings needed to leave this draft weekend with some new, young offensive line talent. Hey, Sam, there was no better center prospect in the entire draft class than who they picked up from North Carolina State, Garrett Bradbury.
You know, some teams reached, some teams got great value. The Vikings got a prospect that was right where he should have been, and the board fell exactly how the Vikings wanted it to. So, I mean, it was a rare draft where you didn't really raise your eyebrows, your jaw didn't drop to the floor. I don't think anybody's walking away with regret. Everyone's saying you've got a solid prospect. He's not a project. He's almost 24 years old. When the season starts, he's going to be 24 years old in 3 months. I mean, he is seasoned, ton of snaps at NC State, 3-year starter, guard and center experience. And Zimmer and Spielman tonight talked to us and they said, you know, we think we've got a guy in Josh Klein who's got center guard flexibility, Pat Elflein, center guard flexibility, and now Garrett Bradbury, center guard flexibility, 3 interior starters. They're going to mix and match them throughout OTAs, training camps, see where they play best. You know we're going to see every combination. That's what the Vikings like to do. But this was the guy they targeted. Rick Spielman saw him in person last year, and they got their guy. It fell perfectly for them. No complaints really from the public on this one.
Yeah, again, not flashy, not sexy, but again, mum's the word right now because I think once the dust settles here after draft weekend, you see this guy put on the pads. You hear the pads pop out in training camp, OTAs, preseason. You're going to start to really realize why investing into your offensive line, especially with a pure pocket passer like Kirk Cousins, is so vital and so important. This guy's going to make a huge difference. You mentioned 3 interior offensive linemen. We got 2 Remington Award winners now on that offensive line between Pat Elflein and Garrett Bradbury. Over 1,000 snaps, I believe, last year, and hardly gave up any pass pressures, which is huge, but it's the athleticism. That's the biggest kind of connection with Gary Kubiak that you wanted to find. Hey, we did hundreds of mock drafts throughout this whole thing. Never thought Juwan Taylor was going to be there.
Right.
Never thought Cody Ford would be there, and if he was, we'd pass on both those guys. But such was the case. A goofy first round, a lot of, like you mentioned, a lot of kind of goofy out there picks. But when it came to the Vikings, they stayed true to their guns. They stayed true to their board. Despite the big names that were kind of falling in their lap, they stayed put. They didn't have to give up any extra draft picks. They got their guy. You heard Mike Zimmer. They were sweating it out towards the end when Bradbury's falling. That tells you
Lindstrom goes off the board.
Lindstrom went to Atlanta.
Nervous.
Nobody thought Lindstrom was going to go to Atlanta that early. They were sweating it out. That tells me, and it should tell you, that the Vikings front office upstairs tonight was very excited to go get their guy in Garrett Bradbury.
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings haven't exactly made a habit of taking O-line in the first round, but they did follow suit in a couple different areas. We hear our buddy Arif Hassan talk all the time about the athletic benchmarks. Garrett Bradbury met all of those benchmarks with the way he performed at the combine. One of the most agile linemen out there, one of the fastest. And Mike Zimmer referenced his 40-yard dash, his short shuttle. He excelled in all of those, and he really rose up the boards. And also, Luke, I mentioned this in previous videos, but for those who haven't heard me say it, the Vikings love the ACC.
Love it.
This is their 15th ACC draft pick in the Zimmer-Spielman era.
Wow.
Next closest, the Big Ten with 7, more than double. There's something about that conference, the level of competition, the pro-style offenses that the Vikings really like, and they fulfilled that trend with Garrett Bradbury.
Now, where do we go from here? You mentioned Josh Klein. I still don't think they're done addressing this offensive line. It's only round 1 pick in the books. Still got 6 more rounds to go. I'm still on the bandwagon, Sam. You know what I'm going to say. that they are trying to move a guy like Trey Waynes, more so just to clear the cap space. They got no wiggle room, no money, very unlike Rob Brzezinski, to not have some more flexibility. I think a guy like Trey Waynes still makes perfect sense. And still, I'm not panicking, Sam, as much as I was hoping or predicting they'd move Trey Waynes. It always seemed like this was going to be the time frame when they do so. After night one, the dust settles, you have the opportunity to kind of hit the reset button, look at the board, how everything falls out. Plenty of time to start calling some teams. Still looking at the Oakland Raiders who pick 35. They want a plug-and-play guy that will help them right away. That's Trey Waynes. You're not going to be able to find another cornerback as polished as Waynes is if you're trying to add somebody in the draft.
Well, and if you want to replace Waynes immediately, corners have fallen. Other than DeAndre Baker, who went off, I think,
the only one gone.
Pick was it 30, 31?
Right at the end, yeah.
You know, you've got Byron Murphy, Amani Oruwariye, Greedy Williams,
Julian Love.
A little later, Justin Lane. I mean, there are plenty of corner options if the Vikings wanted to make that move. It'd be a bold move, and you hate to lose a guy who's established like that and then kind of take a question mark. But you also have to fit under the cap, and you'd like to save some money, have a little flexibility, and sign this class. So, guy in a contract year, Trey Waynes, maybe you make that move if you know you're not going to re-sign him in the offseason because he's going to be pretty cost prohibitive. I mean, and not just corner, Luke. I mean, let's talk about other positions where there's rich talent. Wide receiver.
Loaded. DK Metcalf still. Hollywood Brown, the only guy to go, and arguably one or two. N'Keal Harry right at the end there, Mr. Irrelevant for the first round, goes to the Patriots. That's going to be fun to see Tom Brady with a true jump ball, go up and get it type of receiver. Haven't seen that since Randy Moss. I think, really when you're looking at it, if you can somehow, again, get an extra second-round pick, Cody Ford's still sitting out there. If you were to end up targeting the Raiders' 35th pick, boy, and we're kind of just having fun now, but Cody Ford's still sitting out there. You end up getting Ford and Bradbury. What a dream scenario. You talked about receivers. Kelvin Harmon still out there. DK Metcalf still out there. Hakeem Butler still out there if you want a third big-bodied weapon next to Thielen.
Ridley, you like?
Riley Ridley from Georgia. A lot of options there. Again, a goofy round one ended up pushing a lot of big names down the draft board. Tonight is going to be a busy night again upstairs for a lot of front office teams that is going to be wheeling and dealing. I expect to see a lot of big trades before we even start the draft tomorrow night.
Round 2, round 3, almost as intriguing as the first round, because you've got guys that you expect to be starters. You've got 2 rounds in one night. There's a lot of room to maneuver. This is when you see teams getting creative. Maybe they don't want to part with that first round pick, but they're willing to move back, move up in rounds 2 and 3. And the Vikings have never been shy about that. So I'm really looking forward to tomorrow to see how this falls, because now that they've got the big need addressed, they can start getting creative with maybe some luxury picks, and that's going to be pretty compelling.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, big names still there. I mentioned Charles Omenihu from Texas. You mentioned the corners, the receivers. Even if they were to stay put, keep Trey Waynes, you want that extra depth at corner after Holton Hill's suspension, that's fine. That's a great group to work with going into 2019. You can still get another guy like Drew Samia from Oklahoma I've been in love with. Eric McCoy or Elton Jenkins. Yeah, they're more centers, but guard flexibility. A lot of big names, again, after that goofy round one, a lot of big names being pushed down, and there's always some serious talent from picks 33 to 40, 45. Vikings aren't far behind at pick 50. Again, a lot of damage can be done in day 2 tomorrow.
If you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out zonecoverage.com for all the content there. We've got our zone coverage draft guide for free. Still 70-some player profiles of guys who haven't been taken available at the website, or check out the profiles of the guys that were taken. He's got mock drafts. He's got articles. We've got position rankings. It's all there, zonecoverage.com. Check it out. Luke Inman, Sam Ekstrom, back with you on Friday at TCO Performance Center.